Good morning, everyone. So, Saturday morning, and today I want to talk about kind of going to go back to what I talked about a couple days ago, words and languaging in in reference to our access to divine or Akashic records, if you will. Um, Back in 1997. Michael Drosden published a book called The Bible Code. And there was a subsequent book published in 2002 of the Bible Code. And in it, he describes research that's being done on the Hebrew texts that were given, that were interpreted to be the first 5 books of the Bible. And research is being done on those books in the original Hebrew language in relation to them being a predictor or a code of reference to everything that has happened and will happen. Get that? Will happen in this world, so that we have the capability of changing what might come about. And it's a huge concept. There's lots and lots of research to be done around it, but they're finding now that and now that we have fast computers, we can look at how everything is referenced in the Torah, and how we can analyze those references to give us instructions. And where I want to go today about that is because they're finding that it's way beyond the possibility of just random information. Whenever they've researched huge events, World War events, the Kennedy assassination, the 9/11 incident, it's all been described in the Torah using computers and querying for certain events. Okay. And I'm not going to obviously go into the details of how that happens here. We just don't have time. But you can certainly look it up. The Bible Code is what it's called. And the author's name is Michael Drosnin. And in every instance, when they look something up in the Torah using the analytical reference for the code, there's always the question that comes up with that resolution: will you change it? So what that indicates is, if we continue, or if we don't change what's going on, this is what's going to happen. But as we know, as we're beginning to understand from quantum mechanics, the theory of quantum relativity, everything is possible. So even though this is an outcome that could happen, you could change it. So how does that relate to us as human beings, and how we relate to the world? Scientists are discovering that we really, when you think about memory, is memory contained up here? They're starting to believe that no, it's not contained in the neurons as we believe they were. What the neurons are access to the Akashic records, or infinite, somewhere in the matrix are all events stored. And our neurons are purely a way to access each of those memories, each of those records. So now for us, how do we manipulate that access so that we can maybe start to understand what could be possible for us? Or, if we are looking at a quantum, from a quantum perspective, what are the possibilities, and how do we not only access them, but maybe examine different possibilities or create different possibilities? And the results, as I have researched to date, are all surrounding our language. And when you start to examine how you talk about things, the language that you use, Benjamin Lee Whorf, and that's WHORF, Benjamin Lee Whorf, quotes from him state, language shapes the way we think, and language determines what we think about. So, change your language, change what you think about, and the way that you think. If you want to change what's going on in your life, in your world, if you want to get down to affecting the quantum changes that are possible for you, observe the way you speak about things, observe your language, and change your language. And the other day when I talked about it, unfortunately, that broadcast was interrupted. I think the computer crashed right in the middle of it, and I had to use my phone, and so there was a bit of scattered thought process. However, we have thought patterns, we have language patterns that we have developed historically, given what we thought about ourselves and given what we learned about ourselves and what we brought into our world as this is me, this is, I am this small thing, or I am capable of doing this only, or I am not capable of doing that. That's languaging. That's thought process. You can change that. And if I'm kind of slurring my words, I bit my tongue really badly yesterday and it's all swollen up. I'm trying not to bite it again. So be very diligent about observing the way you speak about yourself and the way you speak about what's possible for you in the future. What that will do when you start to change your vocabulary surrounding who you are and what's possible for you, the neurons that are required to access your new future are developed. We're creating neurons all the time. New neurons are created by new thought processes, by new ways of thinking, by new languaging. And so when you begin to change your language, you will begin to develop the neurons that access a new future for you. Don't take my word for it. Go on to Gaia, go to Carolyn Myss, Go to TED Records, TED Talks, and look this stuff up. This is not me. This is the education that I'm getting. Okay, this is coming from people who have studied this stuff years and years and years. People who are far more knowledgeable than I am about it. All I am is the spokesperson for them. All I'm doing is opening a door that if you choose to look into it, you will find miracles happening. Okay? You can access quantum capabilities that are available to each and every one of us purely by changing your thought process, by allowing yourself to be open to the idea that you are not this limited little physical thing, that you actually are a child of God, created in His image and capable of producing whatever it is that has been put into your heart as your sole purpose. It's a huge chunk to chew, I know. I'm going to leave you with that. You've got all weekend to research it. Do yourself a favor, just look into a bit of this stuff. Go into Gaia and look at Greg Braden's mystery teachings. There's just a myriad of information on the Gaia network about all of this stuff, and again, it's coming from people who are scholars in this field, who really have researched and come from the point of skepticism. These are scientists who don't believe anything until it's proven to them, right? Okay, so gonna let you go with that. Have a wonderful Saturday, and I will talk to you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Guys, have a great day.